This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Good morning, Lincoln, Nebraska. Happy Thursday. Welcome into the Morning Hookup. Bill Hooks, Eliza Herbal. Back at you on a Thursday. Hope your Thursday's off to a great start. Another little ominous morning outside. Cloudy. Could see some light drizzle, annoying rain.
Some say cloudy and ominous. I say cool and beautiful.
Cool and beautiful. It is the kind of a relief right now, isn't it? Especially if you're looking past what we just got through and looking ahead of what's coming. Could be some more record heat, humidity, all the stuff that makes you want to stay inside.
Don't ruin my morning.
I know, but you're going up. You're gonna get. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, this is true. Well, I have to come back though.
Yeah, but man, you're gonna get the continued break as you're headed up the mountain later today.
Because I get back Sunday night and Monday we're looking at 101 with dangerous heat indexes. So let's not act like I'm impervious to this heat that's coming here.
Yeah, but you're getting like the extended a little bit.
Yeah,
it will be one of those where you're like when you get closer back to Nebraska, coming down the mountain for you, as you're going to a pretty cool spot. I like Breck a lot.
Yeah, same. Been up twice. Once was just for like a little day trip up from Denver. Once spent one night up there, and both times.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Enjoyed the heck out of it. This is the first like full weekend I'm spending up there. It's also the first time I've been up there in summertime.
Yeah, oh, I love it. Will you go in? You'll be in Breck. Will you go up the mountain? Will you take the gondola or the ride up to the top?
Try to figure it out. We're gonna do some hiking. Not sure if we're gonna take the gondola up or if we're just gonna go find some of the trailheads around there and go use those.
Correctly, there's a lot of cool stuff up there.
There is.
The coasters up there. The alpine slides are up there. A lot of cool stuff. Just throwing it out there.
Imagine a lot of late 20s men, 6 beers deep, taking the slides up at the top of the mountain.
Roll it, baby. Roll it. Drink your water, though. Stay hydrated.
I got my...
Be ready for... Yeah. You don't want to get to the altitude sickness level.
This is true.
Take care of yourself as you're on the way up. Do it on the way up the mountain, because once you're at the mountain and you're up the mountain, probably too late.
I will say, I did look into this because, of course I did. It's the type of guy I am. We are looking... on the way out of Nebraska into Colorado, perfect temperature for fuel economy.
Oh, look,
it's a touch humid, but you want highs in like the low 70s.
Oh, is that what you want for gas?
Low 70s is what you want for the best fuel economy.
I did not.
You also want it dry, and it's always humid in Nebraska. Once you get to Colorado, it dries out a little.
Good
bit.
To go. Yeah. All right, we got a lot to get to today. We're going to talk some NFL, look at some camp stories. Husker volleyball today. Thought we'd jump into a little Husker volleyball, look at expectations. There's a lot of stuff being thrown out there for this team. I want to look at I really want to look at their non-conference schedule, what it means, where they're playing at. My goodness. Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com, in hour number 2. Stories we missed. Coach Osborne getting a big-time deal this morning. I want to talk about that as that LB 596 was passed, opening up this avenue for living individuals to be in the Hall of Fame. I read about that. That's crazy to me. Previously, before this,
they had a 35-year period.
We're going to talk about that. That's crazy. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more. A whole lot of you. 402-489-1240. Comment on the stream. Jump on YouTube. Check out the Morning Hookup. Jump on there. Go on Facebook. Wherever you like. Say hi to us. Why is he not here today? Because I don't know. We got stuff going on, but we didn't get a chance. His Red Sox tied the record last night. They didn't get over the hump.
They tied it, and then of course they
dropped the next.
They immediately dropped the next one.
5-1. But they did tie it. That is there was an article out there. That was the second longest winning streak in the 2020s.
I think it was
6 years or so.
Was it the Twins in 2021?
Yep.
It was also only the 17th 15-plus game winning streak in the last 100 years.
Yeah. How crazy is that?
That's one of the ones that kind of boggles the mind, that baseball's been going as long as it has, 100 seasons.
Yep.
That was only the 17th win streak of 15 or more.
Yep. In the 2020s, it was in the 2020s right now, 17, 15, and 3 at 14. When you look at the Cardinals did it in 2021. 17 games.
Oh,
And
the
you
Cardinals
mentioned,
guy.
but you mentioned
The
that
Twins
Cleveland team. Or
Oh,
you mentioned
Cleveland.
in 2017, they went 20 straight games.
Yeah.
How about the Moneyball Athletics back in 2002? They went 20 straight.
What was it, 22? Was it 20 or 22?
This part, the CBS Sports article says it was, sorry, no, it's jumping all over the place here. The Moneyball Athletics won 20 straight games.
Who could forget Rocktober?
Oh,
That was that 06 or it was 07? 07 for the Rockies, where they won 14 of 15 their last regular season games to make their way into the wild card, and then swept their way all the way to the NLCS. No, swept their way to the World Series. Swept their way to the World Series.
They went to the series.
Yeah, they ended up winning, I think, 22 of 23 games to make it to the World Series.
Wow.
And there was one loss in there that screws up. So it's not as one of the longest winning streaks, but it is one of the most improbable runs because of when it happened. There was something like 10 games out of a wild card.
The big streaks. A lot of fun, a lot of memories there. Hey, let's kick it off here. I don't know how you look at this or how you don't look at it. We've been talking a lot about Nebraska football schedule as a recent time in the last couple of days. ESPN put out their FBI rankings and their index, their index, which has formulas in it to predict the wins, the probability of wins. Get your thoughts, how you're feeling. Again, it is all formula based. It's on paper. We're not sitting here today saying this is what we believe in, because obviously there's Big Ten media days. There's camp stories still to be played out. There's position groups that we haven't even dove into yet, which we will. A lot of question marks for Nebraska going into this. Have you had a chance to look at this?
Yes.
8-4? It's just probabilities.
Here's what I'll say. And we talked about this yesterday on the Average Joe Sports Show. Realistically, Nebraska should be favored in 7 games they play this year. And there's one game that I put as a toss-up, which is Iowa. And this is not to go Kool-Aid for you in late July. This is me being 100% realistic with you. The first 3 games of the year, Nebraska should be favored by double digits. 92%,
yeah. 96%, 94%. Okay, that's the way you kick off your first 3.
At Michigan State, the wild card is it's Fitz's first Big Ten game in the crowd. But you are in year 4 of a build. They are in year 1, and you on paper have the talent advantage. I'd put that out. It's probably like 70-something% win.
They have 68. ESPN's 68%.
Okay, and then back home against Maryland, another game that talent might be a little bit closer, but you should be favored. Is that probably like low 60s?
79%.
It's ESPN. Higher for Maryland.
It is higher.
Interesting.
So right now, that's 5-0, right?
That's 5. Okay,
that's 5.
And then
I thought that was the I think that's the expectation.
And then I think you'll probably be underdogged against Indiana, Oregon, and Washington, with Washington being the closest number.
19% Indiana.
Yep.
Which would have thrown out there. Their FBI ranking, by the way, is 6. Oregon, 8%. Their FBI ranking is 4. Washington, Nebraska, 57%.
Okay.
We'll see. That FBI ranking is 26 for what? 57%. There's the one you throw out there. Again, it's close.
I'd be surprised to see Nebraska as a favorite in that game.
Really, at home?
We shall see what Washington looks like this year. I think Washington is going to get off to a pretty hot start this year. If you check their schedule, I believe they ease into it decently. With they go Washington State, Utah State, Eastern Washington.
Oh, I'd say.
And then they have Minnesota.
Always something where is it at?
That is in Seattle.
Okay.
And then they go to Los Angeles.
USC.
Yep. So that's probably the first game they'll be underdogged in, if I had to guess.
So somewhere in the Nebraska
but then
range.
Back home against Iowa.
Ooh.
Tough one. I think you'll probably see because it's back at home, Washington favored. And then you go on the road to Purdue where they'll be favored again. So you could realistically have a team that's 6-1 or 7-1.
7-1 rolling in.
7-1 rolling in. So we shall see what that looks like. I think
Nebraska probably, if you're talking about 6-1, 5-2-ish.
5-2, yeah.
Okay.
And then you have at Illinois, which folks right now are probably gonna be scared. I think Illinois is down. They have that close to a coin flip.
They do 50.8, so 50%.
I have Illinois being a little bit down this year.
I think that's because it's
We
at
shall see.
home. It's a Friday night at Illinois.
I think
Nebraska had not a lot of documented success at Illinois.
This is true. Except for the last time they were there on a Friday night.
Yep.
Which was that Roll's year one for Roll.
Yeah.
After the Michigan week. Yeah. And then at Rutgers, another game you should be favored.
68%.
So
at Rutgers.
If you look at it, and Illinois is listed as a coin flip and Washington's listed as favored, I have Nebraska being favored at Illinois and I have Washington being favored in Lincoln. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 wins at that point.
There's
7 games will be favored in, I should say.
Yep. And a toss-up.
And then you have Ohio State. You'll be underdog.
Okay. 11%.
And then at Iowa is a game that I've listed as a coin flip.
38%.
I've listed.
Nebraska. Now, that's probably...
Aside from 1 year, that game is always a one-score game, and Nebraska's
that's
right there. And people are going to talk about the 9-1 record for Iowa in the last 10 years.
Yep.
If Nebraska is a team that shows progress and is taking care of business against teams they're better than, that's a coin flip game.
Mm-hmm.
That's a one-possession game. That's a we'll see what happens in the fourth quarter type of game. So
7-5, 8-4.
7-5, 8-4. That's why I don't necessarily disagree with the 8-win total that they have there, but it would involve Nebraska taking care of business in games they should be favored in, which Nebraska has not been great at doing over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it would show progress if Nebraska gets to 8. I think 7 would also be fine. But all that would take is taking care of business against the teams that you are better than, that you should be favored against, which is...
Yeah, you're favored go win the...
That's easier said than done.
Beeping football game.
Easier said than done. I don't care if you cover.
Do you feel like 7 would be that number where Nebraska fans might be like, all right.
Depends how it looks. If you're 7-5 and you're eking past some teams and you get blown out by Indiana, Oregon, and Ohio State, and you don't look solid in the lines of scrimmage again, Husker fans will be pretty impatient, especially if you stumble and it's a blowout loss to Ohio State and a loss to Iowa. The impatience will rise for Husker fans. It would secure Matt Rule another year, but it's how it looks. If it's 7-5 where you're competitive against the likes of Indiana and Ohio State and Oregon, and you look solid along your lines of scrimmage, and you look like a team that has a high floor, it's not shooting themselves in the foot, Husker fans will take 7-5. Absolutely.
Is that the one you've mentioned it a couple of times? Is that like when you talk about showing progress here, there, whatever, and way it looks, you feel like when we'll start getting in the weeds a little bit later on, but you feel like when you say offensive line, that's where it's all going to be geared towards.
Yeah.
If we look better there.
If you look better there, you're going to be less of the Jekyll and Hyde up and down team that you have been in the Matt Rule era. That's like I don't think you know what Nebraska team you're going to get under Matt Rule. Do you get the team that goes and plays Ohio State to a 1-score game in Columbus, or do you go get the team that gets boat raced by Indiana by 49 points? Do you get the team that gets boat raced by Penn State and Happy Valley, a not great Penn State team, a team that was better than their record, but still a game that you should have been semi-competitive in? Or the team that goes and lays the wood against Colorado at home and rises to a big moment. You never know which Husker team you're going to get under Matt Rule thus far. And
feels like that.
And if you can have a consistent team that's not up and down, that you know what you're going to get on a week-to-week level, which I think starts with your offensive line and your defensive line. If you're solid in those two places, you'll be a more steady team. So it ends up as 7-5, and you're beating the teams you should go and beat. Husker fans will take it.
So you're saying you got to go out and act tough, be tough, not act tough, be tough.
That's physically and mentally.
That's where this team, I guess, a few things you said there. I think it's MO the last 10 years is the up and down, the highs, the lows, get on national TV, get blown out, squeak by some wins that you should be winning by a lot. And when the wins that you're getting beat, or the losses that you're taking, especially against those, call them the Michigan States, the Northwesterns, the Illinois, the Iowas, you've been out physicaled. That sum up Nebraska football in the last 10 years?
Oh, yeah.
You want that to change. That has to change. And I agree with what you're saying there, because I was thinking about this last night about, like, I don't think Nebraska, and I say MO, Nebraska, I don't think has had one in some time. You can't put your thumb on something and go, that is what Nebraska football is about. Besides turnovers, dumb plays.
The last time I remember an identity was 2021, where their identity was they'll hang tough until the fourth quarter and they'll find a way to blow it.
But then there's that, like, right? It hasn't been like, man, this is their bread and butter. This is what they do, and they do it well.
Look at all the teams.
For me,
look at the teams in the top 8 in the Big Ten. They all have an MO year to year.
Yes. For me, that would be progress. You're like, oh, this 2026 Nebraska football team was this. And you could see it. They love to run the football in between the tackles. And they were physically getting 3 or 4 every time. Whenever they got a chance to hit somebody, they hit somebody and they made it hurt. Right? That's what I would be looking for, regardless of record. So you get 7 wins. Let's go back and look at the sum of all the parts. Nebraska was this year. Not going, well, we showed up for every game. You know, some days you look like this, some days you look like that. Some days you got punched in the mouth, some days you didn't. And then how'd you respond when you got punched in the mouth? Because you've had those games. You've had those games over time where you're like, oh, you mentioned the film. We go to Ohio State a couple years ago? Okay. But then the next week, I'm sure it didn't look anything like that.
I think that was
what and it
was the week before where it was Indiana the week before.
Yes. And then you go Ohio State, like, huh.
And then I think you came back home and you beat Wisconsin to get bowl eligible.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So again,
but it's
up and down. Well,
and again, Jason, thank you. It's the reality. It's not. And again, what I also appreciate right now, and we've mentioned it a few times this year so far, it is so quiet at what's going on down there, and I'm loving every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
Be quiet, because I think at this point you have not a lot to say. You shouldn't.
You have a lot to do.
You got a lot to do. Yes.
As I look around to this point of identity, look at the teams that finish consistently top 8 in the Big Ten. I'll just list them off to you and tell me the first thing that comes to mind with your program. Ohio State.
Well, there's so many things. I like defense for them.
That's what's really
offensive line and defense.
Yeah, that's what comes along.
And it doesn't matter. And I say that Ohio State because it really hasn't mattered who's been their quarterback. Offensive line good, defense good.
I'd say that's what,
incredible on the backside.
From the past 5 years, that's what's taken them from a team that's always been in the national conversation to a team that you're picking to win the national championship year in, year out. Oregon.
Oh, explosive offensive, talented on that side.
Yeah. Overwhelming skill talent.
Everybody's skill talent.
Yeah. Iowa.
Toughness in the trenches, tight ends that chew you up, and running backs that will be consistent enough to beat you up in the fourth quarter.
Based on the past 3 years, Indiana. Because I got one for you.
Indiana is just to me, it's like how do you put the word culture into it?
It's the best coach team. That's why
somehow I relate what Signetti has done at Indiana to what Fred Hoiberg is doing at Nebraska basketball.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting all kinds of different parts to come together and just play as a unit.
So I say best coach because they have the best evaluation of players in the portals. Yep. They have the best scouting reports. They have the best game plans week in, week out. It's the best coach team. I wouldn't say they're the most talented team in the Big Ten. But they have a coaching staff that gets their guys to play above an individual level that you'd expect from fellas.
They're an action-based team. They're action-based program. Not a lot of Signetti talks, but it's
Michigan.
Toughness.
Toughness,
they do. But again, that Michigan hasn't strayed away from that from every coach they've had. Go back through all the coaches. Michigan's MO has been back as for what? Ship or car or whatever, you name it. It's been the same MO no matter the coach.
Yep.
Michigan man.
Yeah. Minnesota?
Same thing. Toughness. They're going to get, as much as you don't like PJ Fleck and rowing the boat, he's a lot like Signetti. They're well coached to they squeeze everything they can out of all that, whatever talent they got.
So again, all these teams that are finishing consistently in the top half of the Big Ten, they have a year in, year out identity and culture that they fit guys into. Nebraska's still searching for that.
Yep. I mean, you could throw in Illinois right now with Bielema.
Oh, yeah.
Toughness. Not the most talented.
Toughness and development.
They know what they're doing. And that's the one thing that's Bielema more than anything and his staff.
You expect every single guy that you saw last year on the field for Illinois, which let's be honest, they lost a lot of talent, but every guy that did play last year that stepped into a bigger role is going to be a lot better than they were last year.
And all those guys that those teams we're talking about, you can also put a finger on a coach that what their identity has traveled.
Mm-hmm.
It has traveled. And we have not had that. I mean, you go back, and again, we're talking about identity. Bo Pelini, last time we had a coach coach team with an identity.
Well, an identity that led to wins.
Yes, in a collective years too. I'm not talking about just 1 year here. You look like this for 1 year. Bo had an MO.
I mean, Matt
Bo
Rule's
walked
team,
in. Bo
Matt
and
Rule's
Carl
teams every year have looked different.
Bo, Carl, that staff, they walked in with an MO. Right? They're gonna make it hurt.
Every year Nebraska has looked different under Rule. Every year. You gotta, if you are a team that is the same team week to week, you'll leave the 2026 season having a better idea of what this team's culture, what their MO is, and what they're going to look like next year.
Nebraska football. Here we go. The FBI is out there. You can take a peek at it. We'll continue to talk about this team from here on out as next week, Big Ten Media Days. We'll hear what they have to say or don't say. Hopefully there's not a lot to be said. Coach Rule will say a few things probably that we'll take and break down, probably in context, out of context, all the good stuff. But August 5th, camp starts. The interesting part of this is, for me, is Coach Rule has added, it's the new faces theme, coaching and players. Is that enough? Has Coach Rule surrounded himself with new coaches on the sidelines and new faces to become that team they want to become? No more again. But a lot of this, I will say this, be my final thought, and get one more from you. I believe this team, whether it be coaches or not, in most teams, is going to be the identity of your quarterback. To me, what does that look like? Not dogging Dylan, but I'm looking at Calandria, both comparison, right?
Offenses take on the personality of their quarterback. And I've said this a couple times.
Whether it be the swag you're playing with, I don't care. But I go to one little thing. It may not mean a whole bunch, but it's two things. What kind of plays are you making for your offense? Number one. That's it. What kind of plays? When you got a chance to get 3 yards and get to the sticks, are you sliding? Or are you trying to bust somebody up to get past the sticks?
Well, and to that point, it leads to offensively. Are you an offense that all the guys want to play with the quarterback? Or are you an offense that all the guys want to play for the quarterback?
There you go.
Big difference there.
I think that is number one for me as we start looking at the 26th season, is what that looks like under center. But that goes along with everything. Does that guy under center make Dana comfortable in what he's trying to do? So there's a lot to that. That just started thinking about who creates the MO. That on the other side of the ball, be like, which linebacker creates the MO for you? To me, which one fills the gaps and wants to, right? So, all right. Speaking of MOs, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to jump a little NFL. We're going to look at some favorite teams, camp questions for them, because we got 2 teams already reported because the Hall of Fame game's coming up. Talk about the NFL and a whole lot more when we return.
Also, maybe as a little topic, I found this guy on Twitter. He's the editor of Alabama Golf News. He's currently doing a solo golf trip through western Nebraska.
Oh,
it's really interesting to see him playing. He was at Wild Horse yesterday, and then he played Augusta Wind in Stapleton, a little 9-hole course.
Did I see this guy?
Greg DeWalt is his name. Gregg, and then DeWalt.
Spell. I think he hit my timeline somehow.
Then he hit some sand greens in Dannebrog.
He ranked his teams. Did he rank them? Oh my gosh! Look at the beers he drank. Oh no, that's the trash can. Never mind.
So I think his list is Corey Oaks, Dannebrog, Wild Horse, Augusta Wind. I'm not sure what he's playing today. Because you've hit a good number of the Western Nebraska courses, have you not?
Yep. All right, where does he start this venture at?
He started at Bent Tree in Council Bluffs and then went to Corey Oaks.
All right, there he is. No more Bent. Oh, no, don't do that. Yeah, let's talk. That's good. And then I want to find
his most recent was add Corey Oaks to your must playlist.
I have a little insight on Corey Oak, so we could talk about that for sure.
He also apparently also played Friend Country Club, which I am unfamiliar with.
Right, some of these, he's digging way in.
Mm-hmm.
So some places that I probably have never thought about playing or never been.
That's the way you got to do it, I think. If you want to go see what the golf culture is in a certain place.
I'd like to go do that, actually. That would be a fun one, the way he's doing it.
Doing it solo is also kind of an experience.
Yep. It's something I can never do.
Okay. FlatX10 says Friend's a great track. I've umpired out there. Never played golf out there.
Okay.
Cheapest gas in Nebraska is in Friend, I swear.
Welcome back in the morning hookup. Happy Thursday. It's like a great golf song or being on a golf course. The more I play, the more I'm with you, the more I fall in love with you. That could be a shot-to-shot song. The more I hate you, the more I dislike you.
Golf leaves me hanging by a moment.
As yesterday, I played an up and down round. The rain was annoying, up and down round. It's all over the place. Well, we're off the air, I believe.
Yeah. Let me put that.
We're off right now. We'll figure that out. Stay tuned.
We're good now.
We're back on.
Alarm off.
Alarm off. We're back on. Thanks, Hannah. But we're talking about golf. Up and down round where he did some good things, did some really bad things. Had a lot of trouble yesterday until 18. Had a lot of trouble until 18 yesterday playing in bunkers. I had some bunker issues yesterday. I was in 3 or 4 of them. Had a just real struggle. I don't know if it was the wet sand. It was not the wet sand. It was operator error. And then on 18, I hit into the right side bunker and hit about 3 feet, made par. Like, all right, this is how it's done.
What does this tell you about my golf game? I feel like I'm best. So not the rock hard sand. That's impossible for me. But the sand that is usually really fluffy, that then gets rained on and gets like wet on top, that's the sand I'm best out of. What does that tell you about my golf game? I don't know what that means. Because I'm horrible out of bunkers.
Sand is done. I finally got the tip, right? The tip was I was playing it too far back in my stance. That's why. And it didn't even register until 18 bunker. I'm like, oh, let me try that. And I short-sided hit about 3 feet and made par out of the bunker versus what I was doing and hitting into the lip. Or absolutely filleting it across the green, which kept my score out of it. That was 5. I was in the 80s.
Oh, that's bad.
Mid to high. I was 86 yesterday. But I go back and look at the scorecard. I'm like, well, I was in that bunker, and that bunker. And it took me 3 to get out of that bunker and 2 to get out of that bunker.
So you can sit there and be like, this could have been an 80.
Yeah. I hate doing that to myself, but I do it every round. You got this great story, this great follow on Twitter right now about golf.
Yeah,
that you come across.
It's a gentleman named Greg DeWalt. He's the editor of Alabama Golf News.
Which wonder what his connection is to here.
And this is apparently the second time he's made a Nebraska golf road trip. So he's making his way across the state of Nebraska. Started out kind of Omaha area, and is now out in central to western Nebraska. And he's taken this solo golf trip. Some of the courses he's played, Bent Tree in Council Bluffs. He's played Corey Oaks, Friend Country Club, Dannebrog Country Club, which is sand greens. He played Wild Horse. He has played a gust of wind. I don't know where he's off.
Which
to
I have no
today.
idea. But by the way, those two.
Augusta Wind's a little 9-hole course in Stapleton.
Two that I have played, and Corey Oaks is phenomenal. If you ever gotten to play Corey, they redid that whole thing. They were shut down for a while.
I've heard it's fantastic.
It's fantastic. But they have a good connection up there. But man, they redid every tee box. Tee boxers were doming. They got them all back. They redid every green because I didn't realize this. Over time, when you mow a green, however they mow them, over time they get smaller, and you lose pin placements. They redid them all, flattened back out. Their signature hole, which is that long par 5.
The downhill.
Yes.
It kind of isn't it into the river a little bit,
Yeah.
river in the back.
Yeah, but remember back now, they've made it very playable too. They've got a lot of the brush pick back where that was one of their biggest things where people are like, well, we lose a ton of golf balls because it's so tight. Opened it up, but that hole, if you're standing up top of that green, you can see the plat now.
Yep.
They moved all those trees out. It's a beautiful view. And their clubhouse is magnificent now. And Wild Horse, by the way, is the Nebraska's biggest hidden gem.
I'm not even sure it's hidden anymore.
Probably not, because now, I mean, they've got cabins on it now. It gets a lot of play and stuff, but it is beautiful. Their greens, incredible. Just incredible.
Have you played? I assume you have, but it's harder and harder to get a tee time year after year. Landman?
Yes, I have twice now.
Okay.
I have a connection there. I have really good friends in high places. Landman, yes. Second time, and I played it 2 years ago, and I played it this year.
Because they open up, I think it's New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
They open up their tee times, and it went from all the tee times being gone in 48 hours to all the tee times being gone in 12 hours. And now I think this past year, all the tee times were gone in 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's gone. It's incredible. And they do it
for a year.
So Corey does that now too. They've got this new thing where they open up all the tee times and they're all the same price. I think it's $150 a round for both. I think both courses are that now. And they said, here it is. It's $150. Get your tee time, log it in, and go. It's a cool course. It's weird because it's out in the middle of nowhere. Like you get to Fremont and you have another hour and 10 minutes to Homer. And then you're driving these dirt roads up the way. You're like, where am I going? There are literally no signs to Landman. You got to map it. Then you get to this barn. You take a left at this barn. You see the barn, you go left. Then you got to go up the hill.
But I think that's what makes the Western Nebraska golf experience so special is it does feel like a golf oasis. You're in the middle of nowhere. There aren't going to be any cars driving by. There's no houses on the course. You're not going to see any planes flying over. It is you, your golf ball, and the course. I don't want to say the middle of nowhere, but that's kind of what it is. It makes it more special that way. There's nobody else around. It's just you and the golf. That's what I think brings people back to Nebraska golf courses.
Definitely a oasis of great golf out here.
Where are you at on the Prairie Club? Have you played it?
A couple times.
Okay.
I don't know how to say this. Look, I've been spoiled to play a lot of great golf in my life so far. Good golf course. I'm not going to call it great. Good golf course. The accommodations make the Prairie Club.
Okay.
The clubhouse, the night sky, sitting on the patio with a cocktail and a cigar, great, phenomenal food. The accommodations, to me, make the Prairie Club. Probably a bad take, but it's my take. And I like, if I were to pick the courses, I like the Pines better than the Dunes.
I've heard aesthetically Dunes, but then like
aesthetically Dunes,
playability Pines is
yes.
Great. The one it's maybe at the top of my list that I want to play is Dismal River. I
played that before too, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's a good course. But again, these golf courses are gems in their own right, whether it's in Mullen, Homer, wherever you're at, Gothenburg. The accommodations that they do, I would say, are typically first class. Even getting to Arbor Links in Nebraska City, it's part of the Dormie network now, but great golf course, phenomenal accommodations. Never played Sandhills. That's on the bucket list.
Would love to get a tee time out there, but
yeah.
Flex 10 says love all the Western Nebraska courses. His favorite Bayside.
Bayside might host one of the hardest par fives you've ever seen in your entire life.
That's the super long one that's kind of up on the shelf, right?
Yeah, when you hammer your drive and you got 350 out still or something, blind down to the right, hard. But I agree. I have played that.
Isn't the fairway like up on like a ridge too? So anything wayward is just.
Flexen says, friend, great track. Western Nebraska, very close to origins of the game, like more like British Open style courses out. Yes,
the link style.
Yep. Base. I said number 11. That's number 11. Yep. Incredible. Boy, Nebraska. It's so crazy. And like even like if you just talk golf, like just locally, great public golf courses in Lincoln. Some great ones.
I don't think a lot of people around the country appreciate the gym that is Nebraska golf.
Mm-hmm. They're not. And I mean, like we're going to go on a golf trip. You can literally just go on a nice little golf trip out west. And you're going to hit some great golf. And there's other ones out there that aren't going to make the list of great. You've got, used to be a Warry Dunes. Now is it Nebraska Dunes now? Is that what they call it? Just south of Kearney, I think.
Used
to be a Warry.
I know they changed the name of it.
Used to be a Warry. I think it's at Nebraska Dunes or something like that. I can't remember what they changed it to.
Yeah, Nebraska Dunes. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, Nebraska Dunes.
Get out to like McCook. It's got like, what is that, Heritage Hills out there or something like that? Some nice little tracks that aren't going to get rated high. There's some novelties out there when you look at it. So, hey, NFL camps. We're getting close to those. You got two teams report already. They got the Hall of Fame game coming up. The Panthers and the Cardinals have hit the camp string. And again, next week, I think everyone reports, right?
Yeah.
We get to that level.
All 32 teams will be checked into camp by July 28th, which is that next Tuesday, I believe. Yes, next Tuesday. But yesterday reporting, as you said, Cardinals and Panthers. Hall of Fame game is. I'll watch the first couple drives.
That'll be it.
It's just good to have football back, and then you sit back, and after the Hall of Fame game, you go, oh, but it's still over a month until the NFL season actually opens.
Don't you get into like watching some of this early stuff just because you're like, oh, I just want to see football?
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Well, especially because the Hall of Fame game's always around the same time that Nebraska fall camp opens up.
Mm-hmm.
So you sit back and you go, it feels like football. Let's watch this. You throw it on TV and you go, oh, wait. This isn't nothing special.
Broncos.
But it's good to see.
Broncos. I'm excited as they walk into camp.
I'm excited about the battle that will be the AFC West this year. I think the Raiders will be a dangerous 5-12, 6-11 football team. They have issues, but they also have some reasons to be excited. I think their lines of scrimmage are still going to be a little weak, but they've made some investments in their defense.
Mm-hmm.
I know they drafted for their offensive line. They have Mendoza. The question is,
when does he get his first start?
When do they throw him into the fire? Because I think Kirk O'Chains will probably be their week one starter.
You would imagine, right?
And then what can you get from Ashton Genty in year two? Year one, there was no offensive line help. He had nothing he could do. He was running for his life back there for 2 yards of carry. But they've made some investment via the draft on their offensive line. Can they be better there? Again, still not a complete team, and they're playing in a real tough division, but that might be a team that is a very difficult 5-12 or 6-11 type football team. And then you get Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers. Broncos changed the play caller this year. They had Jalen Waddle. Other than that, they really tried to keep a lot the same from what they had last year.
It's trying to look.
So we'll see what they can do there, but the offensive line remains intact. You bring back J.K. Dobbins. You add Jalen Waddle, Bo Nix in year 3. What does he look like? There's a lot of reason to be excited for a Broncos if you're a Broncos fan, but also to flip it around, that AFC West with the Chiefs, Mahomes coming back from injury, and then the Chargers adding McDaniel as a play caller for Justin Herbert. Can that be the key that unlocks their offense? Because their defense was really, really good last year.
I was going back to Mendoza. Here's their opening part of their schedule, because I think it's imperative that you start looking at when does he get integrated in. It's going to, if you're basing it on the opponent, it's going to be a minute. This is how the Raiders get going. Now they open up with the Dolphins. Okay. But look
a game
at this.
that nobody will be watching.
But look at this. At Chargers, at Saints to finish your September.
Okay.
Saints are one we could talk about.
Saints are a team that I think are going to that's an over-win total team.
This is their October. Chiefs at Patriots, Bills, Rams. Yikes.
I don't think you want to throw Mendoza into that fire.
It doesn't get any easier. November. Now, you could say, all right, at the Jets. But then it goes at Niners, Seahawks, at Broncos, at Browns. This is one of the I haven't looked at the tougher schedules, but then they finish out December, January. Chargers, Broncos, Titans, at Cardinals, at Chiefs.
Woo! Do you start looking at Mendoza late October, early November?
I think it's maybe that first, like, hey, by the way, in November, because we're probably, if you're looking at that schedule, you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. You could be like 1-6 going to November at the Jets. Let's go to work. Just throwing it out there. That division is going to be really stacked up. And
yeah, who would you pick? Because I now have. We talked this a little on the Average Joe show the other day, and a listener, our friend Trevor down in Kansas City, texted me because I said I thought the Chiefs would finish third in the division. He said no way, and I said I think the Chiefs will go 9-8 this year, and he said no way. So we now have an outstanding bet on whether or not the Chiefs get to 10 wins. I say no. He says yes. $100 on the line. We shall see.
The question to that's going to be is how does Mahomes return for the energy? Number one, right? We know that. And what do all the parts look like on offense?
I mean, their wide receiver room is what? Rashee Rice, Tyquan Thornton. Who's the one I'm forgetting? Worthy.
Yeah. Solid.
Yeah, I'd Kenneth Walker. But can he stay healthy for a year? Whatever, he's probably going to be the bell cow.
Travis Kelce.
Washed.
We saw it last year, right? Noah Gray looked a little bit better at times.
And then defensively, you have a couple pieces. I think they still have Bolton. They have Karlaftis. They had Mansour Delane in the draft, who should be a great defensive back for him, but doesn't feel like a complete defense either. The question for the Chiefs this year, and I think it's going to be a question that will determine what the next 5 years look like for them, is can Patrick Mahomes elevate a roster like a lot of the great quarterbacks in the league in the past 20 years have done?
Mm-hmm.
Big Ben always elevated a Steelers roster. Tom Brady always elevated a Patriots roster.
They get a little early benefit, by the way, with schedule. I know they got the opener's tough.
Oh, their schedule's tough. September, not so much, but as the season goes on.
As it goes on, it looks different. Now, yeah, the back half. If you look at the first half of their schedule,
it's doable.
You do get the opening against the Broncos. Tough way to start. Colts, Dolphins, Raiders, Chargers, Seahawks. I mean, that's a little iffy October because one of those is at home, Chargers at home, Seahawks on the road. They're really, when their season really gets up, it's like late November. At Bills, get into December, at Rams, at Bengals, Patriots, Niners.
And then Chargers.
Then the Chargers in early, that first game in January.
That could be a 1-4 stretch. 1-5 stretch.
Yep.
Bills, Rams, Bengals, all on the road. Back-to-back road games.
Mm-hmm.
And then back home against the Patriots, who just won the AFC. Back home against the Niners, always a tough out. And then the Chargers at SoFi? Good Lord, that stretch.
Now, that'll be a home game for the Chiefs, but...
Yeah. And
it is interesting.
I think Broncos, tough week one, and Colts, we'll see what they look like. I think they're a team you're not going to want to see late in the year. But then Dolphins, Raiders, okay. That realistically, that could be a 3-1 stretch to open the year.
Yep.
Then Chargers, Seahawks, Broncos. Two of those being away, Broncos and Seahawks, two of the tougher road venues to go play at. Broncos because of altitude, Seahawks because of that 12th man. Tough. Jets, Falcons, Cardinals, okay, a couple wins in there. And then that brutal stretch.
It's brutal.
It's brutal.
There's a lot of these divisions we could jump into and look, and because we talked about this a little bit in the second hour when you were gone the other day about each division going through them and what the races look like based on paper so far. Because like you look at the AFC East, you feel like that's a 2-teamer right now. That's Bills, Patriots.
Yeah.
I think the North is interesting this year. Can the Bengals stop people?
With Joe Burrow back healthy.
New coach in Baltimore. What does that look like with that time?
Still got Lamar and Derrick Henry.
I think it's a 2-teamer there too. Obviously, I think the Bengals have not the Bengals. The Browns have questions at quarterback. Is it going to be Watson or is it going to be Shadur?
Yeah. For Browns this year, it's how do they do in the draft? Do they have reason to be optimistic for the future? And then the Steelers.
What's the swan song for Aaron Rodgers? New coach. What does it look like? The South, I think, is really interesting too. You look at did Houston do enough at offensive line to protect C.J. Stroud? That was, and obviously getting sacked, 50 plus times?
Yeah, and that comes back to if he is protected, can CJ Stroud return back to what he was as a rookie?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of excitement.
Jacksonville, what they did last year, documented success. Colts, what is Danny Dimes' return from the injury? We talked about the West. They're going to the NFC East. Boy, I think the East, that's stacked a little bit. I think the upstart Giants, what's happening there? New coach.
Harbaugh's a great coach.
Great coach for that group. Dallas, can Dallas get over that hump? Eagles, they return to form, getting rid of A.J. Brown. I don't know what difference that might make. The NFC North,
well, it's way too easy or way too early. I'm taking the Cowboys from the NFC East, but in the NFC North and the West.
Yeah, and we're going to make our predictions. We did this last year. We'll make predictions. We'll put them in an email. We'll send it back to ourselves. Coming up, we got that.
But are the Bears still ascending in the NFC North? Are the Lions still falling?
There's interesting.
Have they missed their championship window? And then, I don't think.
I think the Vikings are.
I don't think they're going to be worth anything.
That's 3 teams there. This NFC South is a wide open.
Yeah.
I don't know quarterback situation in Atlanta. It's Tua, Penix. Who do you like?
Leave that to side. But then NFC West. Woo! Cardinals. Sorry,
Cardinals there at the bottom. You got those other 3.
Yeah, Cardinals are playing for the first overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
But then the Rams, the Niners, and the Seahawks, any one of those teams could win the NFC.
Any of them. So much intrigue in the NFL.
I mean, the Niners just added Mike Evans.
Yep.
It's probably the best wide receiver piece that Purdy's had a chance to throw to. How much miles can he still go put on his legs? We shall see.
Yeah, I think a lot of this, as we wrap this up, and we'll come back with some this day in sport, but a lot of this is going to be like, hey, let's look at those key injuries that have happened to teams. The return of Mahomes from an injury, George Kittle injury, Danny Dimes injury. They're up and down, right? Up and down the entire deal. Saints, we'll talk about them later on, but they're intriguing to me. They got Kamara, restructured deal back. Their quarterback situation might be in a good spot. That's a very aging division. So there's a whole lot there.
We actually only have like 90 seconds.
Let's just stay here. Look at us. Look at us. We're just having a good time.
Would you want to guess who the top 3 in terms of Super Bowl odds are now as we enter training camp?
Rams.
Yeah, number 1. There's one that
Bills.
I'm surprised to see. Bills are number 2.
Okay.
The third one is the one that I go, oh, really?
It's not the Seahawks. I don't think.
It is not. Seahawks are 4th, though.
Baltimore.
It is Baltimore.
Wow.
You've done very well there.
I went back to my main page.
I'm surprised to see Baltimore that good of odds. Plus 1,100 to win the Super Bowl. To round it out, the Chargers are plus 1,600, along with the Chiefs and the Niners, and the Patriots plus 1,700.
It's so. Boy, I love talking football, baby. Jeff Moats is outside the door. He's lurking.
He's got to come talk to me.
Coming up, Husker volleyball after the break. I want to talk about this. Expectations, what they've done the last 3 years, what it means to this group. Brian Munson with HuskerOnline.com coming up in Stories That We Missed. Sit back, relax. We'll be right back.
To be inducted, but he'll now join 27 other Nebraskans honored, including Willa Cather, Standing Bear, Malcolm X, Edward Creighton, William Jennings Bryan, and George Norris, among others. At least 14 mailboxes in northern Lancaster County, specifically in the Davie area, between last Saturday and this past Tuesday were damaged by vandals being hit with baseball bats or something similar. While it may not be the biggest crime, it does cost victims money to fix their property.
If somebody knows, please give us a holler. We'd love to take that information. It really needs to just plain stop.
Chief Deputy Sheriff Ben Houchin says deputies are gathering evidence and looking for video of these incidents and doing follow-up. Meanwhile, deputies and members of several rural fire departments spent time at Malcolm High School Wednesday training for active shooter scenarios. Lancaster County Chief Deputy Sheriff Ben Houchin again says that they also do sit-downs with school administrators and game plan with them after the training about preparing for an actual real-life situation.
Train for the worst and hope for the best on these kind of things, but really proud of the deputies putting this on, and it's very important training.
The Lancaster County Sheriff's Office conducts the training annually. They've done recent trainings at Raymond Central and Waverly High Schools. Mostly cloudy today, a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, and a high of 78 this afternoon. I'm Jeff Moats, KFOR News.
Looking for a fun way to give back? Join us for the 2026 Kicks for Kids Nebraska Fun Run Walk, presented by Pinnacle Bank, on Saturday, August 22nd at James Arthur Vineyard. Enjoy a scenic 5K through beautiful grounds. Every step helps provide shoes to kids in Lincoln and Lancaster County schools, with options for adults, wine included, and kids. Registration fees include a t-shirt, medal, a difference at kicksforkidsnebraska.org.
Watch out! Pew, pew, pew.
You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your own.
This is the Morning Hookup on KFOR.
Welcome back in the Morning Hookup, hour number 2. It's such an ironic that you played this song. I had a buddy I was riding with yesterday in the cart. No names given. Really struggling with his golf game. Like, to the point of like, man, I've been there. We're all decent golfers. It's not like we're bad. Somebody calling in. Gee, look at that. Not that we're bad. So I was trying to change the mood in the cart. This is what the first song I put on. I tried to change the mood. I went to this. It was interesting. It didn't work. I tried. I tried to be the best cart person I could be yesterday. I really wanted to be good. It didn't help. Again, we're going to talk Husker volleyball here in a minute. We're also going to talk with Brian Munson, HuskerLine.com coming up.
We're also going to talk with Dave.
Dave! Happy Thursday, Dave. What's up, brother?
Hey, guys. Hey, we're coming together, Pepper. We're coming together. The rookies are developing faster than what I thought. There's a few potential all-stars in there. Hey, look, the Royals got a 10-game road trip. They go 7-3. Maybe the wild card, but anything less than 5-5, it might be over. So, hey, the restaurant's looking good, Bill.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay.
We're coming together as well.
Okay, you guys take care.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you.
Okay.
Thanks, Dave.
What a great quote. Coming together, Pepper. The boy just started. Sorry, that caught me off guard. That's a really good call.
That is.
Thanks, Dave. They go 7-3, 5-5. You think it's over?
We get the best one-liners on this show from our callers. Thank you to all our callers out
my
there.
My stomach hurt for a minute there. God dang.
Coming together, Peppa.
I wasn't ready for that one. Boy, speaking of coming, let's jump right into it. A little Husker volleyball talk. One we love to talk about, man. We haven't talked about it in a while, but that season's coming up as well. I want to talk, look at their schedule, first of all. Well, like that, I want to go through it. Like, non-conference schedule. One, the places they're playing. Two, about this team. What are the expectations? Okay. This is a unit. That unit, let's call it the senior class unit, 96-3, I believe. Right? Something like that for the last 3 years. They're missing one thing.
Natty.
Is the expectation
Ring.
they're going to be the overwhelming favorite, right? When this comes out. This expectation for this team, the pressure is going to mount for that squad. Now, there's still questions about 5 for 5 and all that. We're not getting that. We're looking at the current roster, the current schedule, what they got. You've got, like I said, Jackson, Bergen, Riley, Harper Murray, those three. You look at it. She's become the most recognizable female athlete in the world right now, almost. It feels like she's Adidas's front running woman in sports right now.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, what that means for that sport for her is something else. Look at the places like these ladies, this program. I feel like they're the Beatles of their era. That high of level, what we're looking at. They're going to play in an NFL stadium in this, what do they call
Spikes
it?
Under the Lights.
Spikes Under the Lights. I have a ticket. We're going down for this one. Now, this is I think this falls in the exhibition world. I'm not sure because it's only 3 sets, I believe, for $1 million. One night, Thursday night, August 27th coming up. They're going to play in Vegas.
2 days later.
T-Mobile
Arena.
Jet set their way at a 2-day adventure there where they're going to play UNLV at 9 p.m. Central and 1:30 on Sunday against Texas. Probably also a highly touted volleyball matchup team. How about you're going to take your talents to Chicago? They're going to play Wrigley Field against Missouri. And then I'm going to throw in there always a highly anticipated match. They're going to play Creighton, again, like they do every year, but look what they're playing them at.
PBA.
Pinnacle Bank Arena. That was part of your season ticket, by the way. I'm not going. Don't get me started on season tickets, please. I don't want to go there. This is not that conversation. But that's a preview, by the way, of what I believe you're gonna start seeing for Nebraska volleyball. Their postseasons are going to be at PBA. Dollars and cents makes sense. Okay. Also, enter in the first year for the Big Ten volleyball tournament, November 20th to the 25th at Fisher, Indiana, Fisher's Event Center.
Which I think will be great for this team to get the pressure of a single elimination format out of the way before the NCAA tournament. But one of the things that's so hard to discuss with this volleyball team, and it's because of their greatness, it's the fact that it really feels like everything that matters for this team isn't until December. This team is going to make the NCAA tournament, and they're probably going to be either a 1 seed or a 2 seed. And if they're a 2 seed, it'd feel like a disappointment. This team is loaded.
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 I think this is, I don't know the history of what you would compare it to. This roster is loaded. Bench loaded. Starter loaded. I've seen articles out there or questions out there as if is our best middle going to start on the bench at this level? And that's not taking anything away from the current middles. I hate throwing names out there because there's been a question, is Andy Jackson actually the best middle in there? Or is it I'm drawing a blank. Come on. So excited about this. Is it Sigler?
Sigler. Sigler.
Outside hitter. Or it's I can never say her name. Not her. It's the
Obechi.
Yeah. People are saying maybe she's the best middle blocker. You've got, not quite. DBK is in such a crazy world of a balancing act of roster. You're bringing in arguably the best setter we've ever seen, one at Nebraska, too, in the country. And you got number one setter maybe sitting her second straight year behind Bergen Riley. And that's Campbell Flynn.
Mm-hmm. But, you look at last year's team, which was dominant, 33-1.
Wow. The one loss being that stupid loss against A&M.
Yeah. 33-1. as a 5-set thriller. And what did he lose from last year's team? Lost Ali Czech, who's great off the bench, to be fair, but not a starter, like not a loss that can't be absorbed. Rebecca Alec, who's a fan favorite, but you hear tale was it off the court always sunshine and rainbows with Rebecca and her teammates?
Yep.
Sounds like it was kind of hot and cold sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you lose. There's one more name.
Blank.
Yeah, why am I going blank on? Oh, Taylor Landfair.
Taylor Landfair,
who was kind of someone who brought harmony between the team, solid player, but
former Big Ten Player of the Year.
Yeah,
at Minnesota.
And came in here and was
dominant at times.
But simply put, what's a role player? Like, you had some great pieces come off the bench and you lost some great pieces there, but it's not like you lost anyone that was the core of this team.
No, your core plus some is still here. Like we mentioned the three of Jackson, Riley, Harper Murray. You're talking about one of the most electric players in all of college volleyball, Laney Choboy.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Choboy, Malk, Limbach.
Yeah.
My goodness. Pick your libero.
Yeah.
And you saw last year they went back and forth between Choboy and Malk at times.
Yeah, and I wonder if that's going to continue. But what I want to see from this team and what I think will be the difference is who can step in late in a match and be that stone cold killer. Who is going to differentiate themselves as that person that you're going to go set every single time whenever it's set 5 and it's 9-9,
mm-hmm.
and you need a point.
And that's not even mentioning, like we're talking about that. Like I mentioned, a dynamic freshman class who has, for all intent, every right possibly to make waves in the lineup at some point. Gabby, Keanu Williams, Jaden Robinson, my goodness. 6'1", 6'4", 6'3", collectively. Walking in.
But I mean, I just mean, who is going to be that Michaela Fecky? Who is going to be that Jordan Larson? Who's going to be that person that, hey, whenever we need a point, we're setting them and they're getting
how it's go. You know where it's going.
That's what set Michaela Fecky apart. Was every single time you needed a point. And what was that? Who was it? The Penn State reverse sweep of the NCAA tournament?
You had your go-to.
Where you just went to Fecky and Fecky just hammered it home every single time.
You knew where it was going. Like, by the way, everybody, we're going to get back into this and win it. And we're going to go right to Michaela the entire time.
Good luck. I need to see that from this team this year. I felt like over the past 2 years in the NCAA tournament, whenever you've had some pressure moments, and last year I know there was some sickness in the team and it kind of changed some things. I don't want to use that as an
injury in the match. Yada.
Who is going to be that person that differentiates himself as that? Okay, pressure's high, lights are bright. We need a point. Who's going to get it done for us? So that's what I want to see. And I think you have some opportunities early in the year. We talk about that, the spikes under the lights, national television, in Jerry World, Wrigley Field, where the eyes of the country are going to be on it. Hey, who in those pressure moments can you turn to go and get it done for you? And then in a Big Ten tournament, can you have some moments like that as well that prepare you for an NCAA tournament run?
How about this question? I mean, again, I'm not going to season tickets. Okay, do not go there with me because I don't want to get all the whatever.
You don't want to get worked up?
I'm fine. There are a lot of people that are worked up, but I do have a question. And this is crazy me probably to ask, what's the environment going to be like at Devaney with the reseat?
It'll still be.
I think it'll be good. Will it be
different? You're going to be losing folks that have had their season tickets for 30 years.
Will it be different? Will there be more standing up in volleyball matches versus the crowds that's like, hey, they're serving sit down? Because I think I would go back to, like, again, been going a long time. Understand the unwritten rules of volleyball, okay? There have been times in matches where the momentum is switched and maybe Devaney hasn't brought it as much. Fair?
Yeah, 100%.
Is there a new era ushered in to those seats? I don't know. It's just a question. Whereas others that might have been down there are now up here. I just questions. I think the environment will come into question a little bit from a lot of people. Will it be sold? Yes. I'm not saying it's not going to be sold out. That's not what I'm saying. It's like, what's that feeling going to be like?
Last question here. Is it too early to say buy your tickets now.
Buy them.
For the Final Four in San Antonio.
Buy them.
That's what this season's about. This team is a Final Four team.
This is a season where you're preparing all year long to be the top 1 through 4, top 4 seed. Just say that. This is your preparation. Now, DBK's got to manage that roster along with Coach Reyes, who's phenomenal, by the way. The staff is phenomenal. Balancing the roster, balancing the ins and outs. I think you'll see they have an opportunity. And Skylar, I agree. Nebraska potentially has 2 top 5 teams in the country on their roster. I think you're going to see a lot of that mix and match stuff throughout this season until they land on something. They have the opportunity to do that because of who they are and what they have. But it's also managing the pressures of this. Okay. And what I'm just,
and that's why I say I think like the season within a season, why it's hard to talk about volleyball now is it ramps up. It's not till late November, early December that the season truly matters. I mean, if they're going 3-4 losses on the season, regular season, does it matter?
Yeah.
Does it matter if you're learning things about yourself and you're a better team come NCAA tournament time?
Oh man.
It's crazy. I'm not saying 10 losses. I don't think there's a world in which that happens. This team is that good.
The goal. The goal is to be ready and playing at your best as you walk into the postseason. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's just why we talked about that forever.
I have zero concerns about this team being a top seed in the NCAA tournament with this regular season.
Scott says
there could and probably will be a couple losses on this schedule this year, and that is perfectly fine.
It's not freak out mode.
As long as you're ready to go by the time it's NCAA tournament time.
Scott said, I kind of hope volleyball loses the game early to keep the unbeaten monkey off their back this year. Sure, that's a great one. If they do get a natty, well, this will be the question. If they do not get a natty, do you keep them for a 5th year by sacrificing scholarship to the younger players? Well, that'll be something way at the end of the year to talk about. Being able to stump opposing teams, making adjustments by sheer development of talent and rotation ability is luxury. And they got every luxury possible with this team. And I don't even want to get to the point where we're talking about if they don't, what's next. But if they do, what's next? It's where we'd be wanting to talk about.
It's incredibly difficult to win a national championship in any sport, no matter how loaded you are. But just to put it simply, if this senior class this year ends without a national championship on their resume, it will feel like a disappointment. I don't want to say what it does to their legacy, but it'll feel like a disappointment because this team, it's been the best volleyball program in the country for the last 4 years because of this class.
And without that one thing.
Yep.
This. And it is, I get it. It's a lot more than that, but that would be call it the icing on the cake for a group that's been, again, like you said, one of the best, maybe the best group. I mean, we've seen forever. So, all right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll keep talking Nebraska, but we're going to be on the football side. Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Man. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. That was 22 minutes. Boom.
Oh.
Haircut day.
Drive for 9 hours day.
Oh, yeah. But you get, I mean, just think about where you're headed.
What's the worst part of the drive to Colorado in your eyes?
The worst part of Colorado is when you get into Colorado, was at Julesburg, Sterling, that stretch, and wherever it's at. Like, is it past Ocala to Denver?
Yeah. Brutal.
Just brutal.
Brutal. Well, there's even that part of far east Colorado where it's like rolling hills and it's nice and it's not bad. And then there's the part of eastern Colorado where it's just flat nothingness.
Yeah, I love past through Denver's fine. I love past when you're starting to get up through the mountain. You're feeling the The anticipation. Actually, you know what? Actually, you know what? One of the longer parts of the drive is probably because don't you go in through Frisco and then make your way to Breck? Or how do you get to Breck? Don't you have to get off and then drive up to Breck or whatever?
Oh yeah, you stay. You're on I-70 up until like is that Silverthorne?
Yeah, is that
Silverton?
Oh, you're
Silverton?
like, man, we're almost there, but we're not.
And then you have another 40-minute drive off the road to Breck.
Yeah, like man, come on, man. Because you can taste like you're getting to your spot. You're like the first beverage is about to happen.
I also don't like the portion of the drive because it's an are we there yet moment where you first see the mountains and you're like, oh, we're almost there. And
no,
then you realize
you're
it's
not.
still 2 more hours.
No, you're not.
I got the podcast loaded up. I'm ready to rock. I'm going to get Brian on the line.
All right, let's roll. Welcome back in the morning hookup. Efforting Brian Muntz with HustlerOnline.com. Have it momentarily. I was going back to our communication exchange to make sure. We got him? Not yet? All right. I was right. It is today. Making sure. You know. Didn't want to be like, well, what are you talking about? He has the most unique voicemail still, by the way, doesn't he? Still the same one? Pretty solid. Don't make me play your voicemail, Brian Munson. It's a real good one.
If it goes to voicemail, we'll throw it on the air here.
What we?
You're gone to voicemail. Sometimes it makes me sad, though, not being able to take your call.
It's so solid.
Okay, we'll see if he gets back to us.
Yeah. A lot to talk with Brian about, man. We haven't caught up with him in a little bit. So it's caught up with that 27 class. I think a big question for that class is what's left in that class. They're saving spots, I believe. Here he is. They're probably saving spots, and who's those spots for is the big question. So we got that. What's ahead? I want to ask Brian about some position groups. Which of the young talent can battle in a position group? We got him. It's our guy, Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. B, what's up?
Oh, my goodness. I'm chasing dogs around this morning. It's been unbelievable. We had something in the backyard, and it is driving them crazy this morning. And it's 100 billion degrees down here already this morning, so I'm not better for it. I'll just tell you that much. I got to shower again 2 hours later after I've already showered.
When that happens, we have two dogs that like whatever if the wind blows, there's like a little bark. Do you have to use your dad voice, or you have like your own dog dad voice that you use?
We use an electrical shock collar.
I love it. There we go. I should put that on the kids.
No, but I have a dad voice, and we have a 8-month-old yellow lab, Great Pyrenees Saint Bernard mix.
Oh,
and she is that way too. If the wind blows, you will hear about it. So that's the one that's given me the most problem. The golden retriever and the Australian shepherd, they could care less.
They're like,
that
whatever.
one right there. Yeah, that one right there though, she is pushing me today. Really pushing me.
You're like, why today? Let me alone.
I know. Like this is the day I've got plans. I got to talk to my boys up in Lincoln right now. And you're going to go ahead and do this to me right now. I really appreciate that.
Oh, man, but we got you. We got Brian Muntz with HuskerOnline.com. Well, let's start just in the running back room with you get word. Again, you get the word on the Nelson situation. No charges. We're moving on or whatever that case is. Not going to get into that. That'll take care of itself. hoping that whatever happens, he's better for whatever and learns whatever it is. But you add an addition at Iowa Western via Penn State. Give me thoughts on this gentleman as he enters the room, because that is one room I think we're looking at going, we did not early on bring another running back in, and I think you had questions about that a month or whatever time ago. But now you're adding one other addition, what it means and what it could look like.
Well, I wrote about it in 3 and Out this week. I had a lot of time. I was up in Gatlinburg, and we had a really bad rainstorm, so I was just watching film while I was up there, and kind of really became more in awe, I think, of Amir Brown the more and more like I was watching him. So it drove me to write an article. But I mean, you're talking about Tyke Hines, and I think that when we talked about, Tyke, or when we talked about the room before, we kind of felt like January they had to go do something. I mean, I think we all agreed that it was a talented room, but it didn't have the experience. And I think that also that when you looked at the room this year, you didn't have a guy in the room like an Emmett Johnson that you could potentially see emerging as, I don't think anybody could have seen or guessed that Emmett was going to have the type of season he did last year. But I don't feel like, looking at the room this year either, that I could guess anybody's going to have that kind of season either. And I felt like that's what really was going to be missing. If you're going to go ahead and say, we're going to bring in these additional offensive linemen for portal guys, for portal transfer guys, we're going to bring in Calandria, but yet we're going to go ahead and not go that extra step to bring in a running back. I just didn't feel like there was going to be enough there, I guess, to kind of have that balance. And I felt like they missed that opportunity early, but they came back and readdressed it. So with Mekhi Nelson getting into trouble, potentially, still facing some sort of disciplinary measure from Matt Rule in Nebraska, whether it's, getting kicked off the team or some sort of a suspension, I guess it's all TBD. But I mean, Nebraska goes out and finds Hines, which I felt like wasn't necessarily related to Mekhi Nelson. I felt it was really more related to missing that opportunity in January. And then I kind of also then went forward a little bit more and said, like, how does this impact Amir Brown? And I don't think it impacts Amir Brown either. I think Amir Brown's going to come in January too, and he's going to challenge for playing time immediately as well. It's a 5'11", 210-pound running back. So I think Nebraska's room is even more talented than it was before. I don't think it still has that experience that maybe you're kind of looking for. And I think that they're really still going to be waiting for somebody to kind of pick it up and run with it. And somebody's going to have to emerge, and it's, heck, it could be Ives. It could be Booth. It could be, Mosey. It could be any of those guys. But I do feel like running with the committee every single week has risks. And when you don't have that bell cow guy to kind of go to each and every week, where you start out with him and you kind of ride him and then you kind of spell him a little bit and then you go back to him, I don't feel like anybody ever gets kind of into the groove and doesn't really ever have like that momentum, where you can kind of count on them to be part or have a factor into a game. So I think the room is, again, more talented than what it even was before. Still just doesn't have that experience. I think that Nebraska fans would feel better about if they had a guy that maybe played for a year or two at Penn State before going to Iowa Western.
Brian Munson with us here, HuskerOnline.com. And Brian, if you had to forecast pre-fall camp here, and I think a lot of things will change, especially with the running back room through fall camp as guys show the coaches what they've got and make some plays. But if you had to forecast right now, I saw a poll on Twitter, and Husker fans are pretty split on this. Who do you think will end the year leading this Nebraska running back room in terms of carries?
Oh, that's such a tough answer. I would say, given the way last year ended, maybe how I saw the spring had gone, the fact that he didn't move back to wide receiver, he seems to be all in on this running back move. It's hard for me not to say Mosey. I think that's probably not going to be a lot of people's first guesses, but I think he's shown a couple of flashes. I think that he was, making a fairly significant adjustment from wide receiver to running back. I think that he's put on some good weight. I think he's trained hard. I think that you got to have that, growth into that position. I mean, you're talking about a guy that was a 4-star wide receiver, committed to Oregon, flipped to Nebraska, and then converted to running back. How special of an athlete do you have to be to do that? And so I think it just takes a little time for him to get his legs underneath him and really kind of take off. And he had a good summer and has had a chance to kind of absorb some more things, maybe even gel a little bit more. Maybe he fits in better. Maybe all the running backs are a little bit better off by, number one, the offensive line that they have, which I think is going to be the biggest improvement to this team from last year to this season. And then I think the other side of this too is you add some mobility at the quarterback position. I think that's going to open up some things for those guys in the backfield. So I'm going to say Mosey. I'm not comfortable necessarily saying that. It wouldn't surprise me if Hines was that guy or Tyke Hayes was that guy. But I'm just going to say I think it's going to be Isaiah.
Again, we're speaking to Brian Montz with HuskerOnline.com. Brian, let's look at the current team. I know we're walking into fall camp in a few weeks, Big Ten Media Days next week, but some groups out there, and throw us some names, whether it be a transfer that is transferred in that we don't know much about that you've covered, or a young kid coming in. And I think one of those rooms we talk about is what's going to happen at linebacker. I think that's been a group that is obviously, a lot of this is going to be on the defensive side because I think there's a lot more questions defensively, minus the running back room on the offense. But give me some thoughts on linebacker. We do have some good returning guys. I mean, Dvorak has got some guys in the Shavers or a Merritt, returning back to it. But there's some other guys out there that can really clog the middle. And just give us some thoughts on who can emerge in that room.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you brought up some of the guys. I mean, I would probably throw out there, Jacob Bauer's a name that's going to get missed a little bit that I feel like is going to fit there. He's a physical, athletic, active guy that can play the position. There's another, Derek Wacker's another player that, obviously young guy, played some last year, kind of similar size to Bauer. But then I think you start breaking in more to like the scholarship guys, Shavers, who you'd mentioned before, kind of had this coming out year as a freshman, and last year didn't seem to kind of connect very well, takes a red shirt. Now he's back into it with a new defense, really waiting to kind of see something else from him. I know a name that everybody's kind of waiting on to see what's really going to happen with him is Christian Jones. And I don't know, like, if Christian's going to find his spot. I mean, he's just too athletically gifted and too competitive to kind of like just say, we're going to keep you floating around back here a little bit. He's going to want to emerge. He's going to want to get on the football field. I don't know. Like he seems to be just way too athletic and way, have just all that speed to, kind of sit back there. I think they're going to try to have to find a home for him, whether it's like a walk up outside 2-point guy and kind of get him going. The guy that I'm really interested, there's two guys I want to see this year. Obviously, I think Dawson Merritt is the name that everybody has still circled on their list. I mean, the former Alabama commit that flipped to Nebraska, all the talent in the world, a little banged up, coming into his first year as a Husker. Where is he going to kind of emerge? Where can people kind of see him at and playing? But I think the other one, obviously, is Owen Chambliss. The transfer from San Diego State, and Dexter Foster. I mean, I don't know how I can kind of actually overlook him either. The two transfer guys have got to be this catalyst to the changes, of course, that Rob Aurich is trying to implement there with the defense from last year to this year. So those are the guys that have really got to kind of carry it forward, be the on the field coaches, the extension of the coaching staff, essentially for the coaches, and kind of put people in the right place, be those leaders by example. And I expect them both to have very good seasons. So Chambliss, I think is probably the one everybody's got kind of circled because he came from San Diego State. Dexter Foster, like I mentioned before, Dawson Merritt. Really interested to see, obviously, where like a Christian Jones, where he could emerge and be a guy, because that's just too talented of a guy to leave him on the sideline.
To me, I think the question with the linebacker room is more, how do you split time between all the talent you have there? But I think some of the top guys in that room have differentiated themselves. As I look at position battles defensively, I'm really curious because we could probably name the top 7 or 8 defensive linemen in the room, but what does the snap count look like for each guy once the season begins? And I'm also really curious about the safety spot. Who are going to be your starting safeties? Does Dwayne McDougal come in, live up to the hype? Is he going to be that leader on the back end for the defense? Where does Rex Guthrie stand? Those are kind of the 2 spots that I'm really, really curious in.
Well, I think so let's start with safety, because I know that, like, people, there's a group of people that seem to be down on Guthrie a little bit. And honestly, I don't understand why. That kid has gone out and given his all, played hurt, fought through that, finally had surgeries to kind of, get things corrected. But this is a kid, from very close sources, when he got offered during the summer camp, Matt Rule and his staff, they were blown away by what they saw from Rex Guthrie. They really felt like they found a playmaker and a guy that could cover so much ground, and he was just such a gamer. I honestly don't see a world where Rex Guthrie isn't in it, like when it comes to playing the safety spot. I'm honestly that high on Rex Guthrie. I think Guthrie could really be the dude this year back there at the safety position. He just has to stay healthy. That's the big thing right now, is just trying to keep him healthy. But then if you kind of come over to the defensive line, that way, like what you were mentioning before, RVP got to be his year, right? This has got to be the year that we see an emergence of Riley Van Poppel. He has that size, I think, in the room that everybody's been kind of looking for, waiting on since Robinson left. He's a 6'5", 300-pound guy. And I think obviously that the way that they use the defensive linemen is very interesting. They will line them up all over the place and twist them and do all sorts of different things to kind of create chaos with the offensive line, which then frees up linebackers, and gets guys flowing. But I think the other side of it is, though, too, is through that chaos and that in basically those twists, those stunts that they do up front, it actually creates a lot of plays for those defensive linemen. There were, I think, 3 defensive linemen for the Aztecs last year that had 6 sacks or more. So if you're looking for that type of activity, you're looking for those guys to kind of emerge. I think Riley Van Poppel is, one of those guys that can really go out there and do that for you. I mean, I think that he's going to have to play a massive role for that room. And then you talked about, of course, the transfers again, like Gabe Moore and Owen Stoudemire. I think people are very, interested to kind of see how those things are going to fit together. But then you have a couple guys that were brought in by the class before, and they're waiting for those guys to also emerge. You had a very talented Tyson Terry that had tore his knee up his senior year of high school, grinded through it during wrestling, which is just insane. Now that you're kind of hoping that this change with the front back to an even front, that it could be a good thing for him. And then you got Malcolm Simpson. Like, Simpson is a guy that Texas was interested in, all the way like into October, November of his senior year. And this is a guy that, played oddly at the nose position, but he was very effective. So I'm really interested to kind of see how those guys start to kind of blend in as well. And if you could start seeing some rotational guys like Tyson Terry and Malcolm Simpson, some younger guys in the room start to play like that, that'd be very encouraging for what kind of talent you have in that room.
And there's been so much talk this year with the defensive line about who's going to step in, who can be a run stuffer, who can eat up double teams. And I mean, we don't have to beat a dead horse there. We'll find out, I guess, through fall camp and into the early part of the season. But where do you think this team generates a pass rush from? Because the defensive line wasn't great there last year either. Is this a team that has to blitz to pass rush? Are there any names you have circled as guys that can be dynamic pass rushers on this roster?
Well, I think Cam Lenhart and Cade Pedshop kind of come to the top of my list. I think Willis McGahee is another dude that can get after it as well. That's and of course you're kind of overlooking, the guy I think that's taken another step forward, like in Williams Dewerney. So those guys, I think, to me are going to be the guys that are going to have to go ahead and get it done. But I think that, like I said, with what they did last year at San Diego State, I think that that's a very interesting concept about just the confusion and the chaos, that all the twists and all the stunts. They had guys, literally twisting from the nose tackle all the way out to like the 7, an outside canteen. And I've literally not seen, that large of kind of a twist, like where you're basically, getting 2 gaps inside of that twist. So I think that those are some of the guys that I got circled on my list. I think this could be a really big year for Cameron Lenhart. Pedshock is a guy that out of high school even had really impressed me when it came to his motor. I kind of likened him to Grant Wistrom. I really felt like he was the kind of guy that, when the ball was snapped, that his engine was just at, 10,000 RPMs going until the whistle blew. So a lot of hope there, I think, behind him to kind of go ahead and get something done. You got Anthony Jones as well, obviously, another portal transfer that could be big. Could be big for Nebraska this season, but I think you're going to generate that pass rush that you're looking for. I think it's a Lenhart, Pedshock are the 2 guys I'm really looking for to lead it this year.
B, you mentioned RVP, and hopefully this is the year where you see him emerge. Look at this other room that Nebraska's had documented success at. That's the tight end room. And I want to focus on one individual that's highly touted, Ainsworth, Nebraska, unfortunate injuries, seems to be healthy. Talk about Carter Nelson, a fully healthy Carter Nelson in that room. Because that looks like it'd be a pretty good room as well. But what it would mean and what we could possibly get out of a Carter Nelson who's coming into a year, hopefully that we're hearing that it's just healthy and then we get to test those skills and what he could be in that offense.
Yeah, and the question about Carter is too. It's like, where does he fit in the offense? Is he really truly like a hybrid Y, or is he playing really more of truly a wide receiver sitting in is he in Satterfield's room or is he in Short's room?
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of the question about Carter, because he's such a unique athlete. I mean, he's a 6'5", 240-pound kid that'll run a 4.5. I mean, there's not a lot of guys out there that can do that kind of thing. But I mean, when you start looking at the room, there's obviously a lot of talent in there. There's again, just not a lot of production. You got like Eric Ingwerson, the guy that Nebraska flipped from Pitt, out of Papillion La Vista. You got the really talented freshman Luke Sorensen, who's actually probably my top pick for maybe like the most productive freshman that Nebraska can kind of count on this year. I think he's going to have a great season for Nebraska. He's the guy that after high school just went to work. He came to Lincoln like over 250 pounds when he showed up in December. Didn't have great stats his senior year, didn't allow it to kind of get him down, showed up, put his best foot forward, got to work. A lot of chatter about him like through the spring process. I think he had a grab or 2 actually during the spring game. I have to go back and kind of revisit that a little bit. But he's a guy that I feel like, coming from the system that he played in, coming from the league that he played in California, that puts him, gives him an advantage, I think, to kind of seeing the field a little bit earlier. And I think he's got a little bit of everything that, of course, I think that Nebraska is looking for. I think he can block. I think he can catch. I think he's got yards after catch, when it comes to those kinds of things. So you're talking about a true tight. You're talking about a hybrid Y. You're talking about a dude that can play a little bit of an H kind of a position, like a T-Fatiller. So interesting dude, I think. But I think every year that we've talked about him, Carter Nelson has been a top topic, and for good reason, because I think the talent is there. I think I think it's just been, always comes down to just where where he's at injury wise, because athletically, there's not a lot of people on the field that can do the things that he can do. It's just about the availability of him because of injury. And now it's going to really come down to, is it going to be as a tight end or as a wide receiver? Because he actually could be in the rotation for wide receiver this fall.
It's Brian Munson with us here, HuskerOnline.com on the morning hookup. And Brian, before we get you out of here, I do want to revive a topic that we had yesterday. I want to get your thoughts on it. We asked the question, if money was no object, weather didn't matter, travel, none of that, just from a pure footballing point of view, you can go and watch 3 Husker games in person this year. What 3 Husker games are you picking, kind of the 3 most important in your eyes?
Oh, wow. What a great question. It's hard for me not to say Eugene right off the bat. I mean, I think Oregon might be a little bit disappointment when it comes to like the stadium and maybe the crowd size. But I think ultimately that's just, they've been riding pretty high under Lanning and going to see that game. It's going to be a massive one for Nebraska. Iowa, the way that things always end up with them, it's kind of an interesting dialogue we had on Red Sea Scrolls yesterday, whether, do you drop the games that typically like you would, like looking at the schedule, like with Indiana and Oregon, or, and then possibly beat, Iowa, or would you take a loss to Iowa if you could beat one of the other two teams? And I'm like, no, you beat Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
You got to work out. You got to work out from Lincoln. You'll get the Bloomingtons and you'll get the Eugenes and you'll get to the Columbuses and you'll get to the Ann Arbors. You got to get Iowa City first, because right now they have had your number. So you've got to start owning that series, and you're operating out of a pretty significant hole when it comes to the overall record since Nebraska joined the Big Ten. So I think Iowa City would be on there, although I'm not really like there to like soak it all in. And then I think an interesting game of just like where things kind of stand at, with Nebraska would be coming back to Lincoln and watching them the week before against Ohio State. That's obviously going to be a massive game for Nebraska. Ohio State, they could be well on their way to another national championship run. And of course, Indiana could be doing the same thing a few weeks before that, but I'd have to say, and you know what? Going back to Indiana would make a lot of sense too. We personally know Josh Hoover from down here. He went to Heath High School. He was my wife's office clerk for her in the library when he was in 8th grade. So we know that family. We know that family incredibly well. So he actually came out and watched my son at TCU's football camp a year ago, and the coach was like, "What are you doing here?" And he was like, "I'm watching that kid." So. Incredible family, incredible kid. I guess I'll change my answer to Indiana so I can go back there and see Josh play.
Love that. Love it. Great stuff, B, man. Hey, thanks for taking the time on a Thursday with us, my friend. Have a great day, great weekend, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
We'll get back on that regular time slot. Thanks for being flexible this week.
Yes, sir. Have a great one, B. Appreciate you. Brian Munson, HuskerOnline.com. Let's take our final break. Come back with stories that we missed. Good stuff. Little stories that we missed coming up.
Yeah, we're up against it again. So
yeah.
Quick. Got 2.5 minutes on the clock. We added that TO story.
Yeah, got that one for us. That'll be the one. That'll probably tell you how much we have.
2.5 minutes.
2.5. Perfect. Where did it go? Right here.
And my carpool is approaching the station. We're taking my truck, but they're meeting here.
Oh, we are up against it.
You'll have a car for 8 hours. I could be halfway between Kearney and North Platte right now, but I didn't show up for work this morning.
The coordinator said it's not even worth looking out the windows past Ogallala, pretty much.
Yeah.
Sedgwick. Say if you stop in Sedgwick, makes that drive a little cooler.
I will say the older I get, the easier that drive becomes. I'd rather make the drive to Colorado than to Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And there's the highs and lows of the road trip.
Mm-hmm.
First hour, brutal. I think hours 2 through like 4.5 or 5 are like those fly usually. I feel like Lincoln to North Platte flies.
Yeah, you just get going. Well, you're excited. There's the talk and there's everything going on.
Yeah, and then you hit the doldrums, which always it lines up with Eastern Colorado. Which is another reason why Eastern Colorado sucks. Is also lines up with the part of a road trip that's just hard.
Yeah,
hours 5 and 6 are tough.
Then the anticipation builds as you get close.
And then as the anticipation builds, and then the last hour is also hard. Because the last hour, it's like, man, just get me there already.
Just come on, man. Just come on, please.
All right, coming back.
Here we go. Welcome back in the morning hookup special. Thanks here to Brian Munson, HuskerLine.com. Just a couple minutes with us left. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on a Thursday and every day. Boys, T.O., congrats, Hall of Fame.
Before we get there, let's
get it.
The stories we miss.
My bad.
The morning hookup.
T.O., Nebraska Hall of Fame honoree today. After coming off the passive legislation bill 596, which was amended, by the way, because you had to wait 35 years after death to be even considered.
Which I assume was kind of a rule to keep, not like political influence, but like you kind of know what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
to keep folks from pulling some political strings to get themselves in and whatnot.
Your
But
achievements.
this is not one of those. This is a well-deserved honor for Tom Osborne. And have you seen all the busts that they have inside the Capitol?
Yes.
It's a super, super cool hall to go and walk where it has all the Nebraska Hall of Fame honorees with their busts, their little life story in the Capitol.
It's really cool.
No one, I think, among current Nebraskans deserves this honor more than Tom Osborne. And it's not just the football. People from across the country might sit back and be like, well, the state of Nebraska is honoring a football coach. No, he was his work in government, his work in youth outreach,
teammates.
It has been his impact on this state has been hard to quantify.
Yeah. By the way, just as you mentioned all those, the inductee nominees must demonstrate exactly what you just said. Public service, leadership in college athletics isn't one of them, but also dedicated to youth mentorship. So it's like you said, it's not across the country going to go, a football coach got in, but there's way more than that, his impact. And I like the way that this is happening because I think so many times in life or whatever, we wait too long to honor Hall of Famers, to honor whatever the achievements are until people are gone.
Yep.
And to be able for them to enjoy it and be honored outwardly.
And it's Nebraska through and through.
Yep.
How many other college football coaches out there would make their money and then go retire in Florida or California
and be
something
gone.
like that?
He's here.
He's Nebraskan through and through. This state means something to him, and he means something to this state. So well-deserved honor.
Tomorrow, the Moats is back. The Almanac, he'll be back and a whole lot more. Hey, have a great trip. Drive safe.
Thank you, sir.
Have a great Thursday. We'll catch you on a Husker Homer Friday.